Here we come, rougher than the rest of them. Artemia, the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing Sonic Mania. This time going with everyone's favorite Red Echidna, as we see what he was doing during Sonic and Tails' adventure through their story. What's going on? Who are these bozos? Ow! Ow, my giant head. Oh, this is trippy. So Knuckles' story pretty much follows a very similar format to Sonic's chapter. He plays very similar to Sonic, except for a few key differences. For one, he's able to glide through the air, he can break through certain obstacles, like those walls there, and he's also capable of climbing, which is a very good way of finding secrets like that hidden ring. So yeah, Knuckles' adventure here is pretty interesting with his unique skill set. And it definitely allows him to explore the same levels we were at with Sonic, but with a lot of key differences throughout it. But what hasn't changed too much are the special stages here. I'm pretty sure they are exactly the same as they were back in Sonic's story, so it's not gonna be too bad for us to get to these Chaos Emeralds. Especially because I've had a lot more practice with these stages in my previous playthroughs, so we should have a relatively good time getting all the Chaos Emeralds before the end of this endeavor. Yep, just like Sonic, we have 7 Chaos Emeralds to collect, although we don't really have to worry too much about getting them all before the end of this game. I still want to, obviously, but it's not that big of an issue. But yeah, Knuckles here, quite the interesting character to play as. He has his own set of skills that are unique to him. I mean, are very different to what Sonic and Tails are capable of, and definitely adds a lot of interesting gameplay to him. All in all, it's a playstyle that I feel that if you enjoy Sonic's run of the game, this is a very interesting way of being able to play for the same adventure, only with some key differences, namely the changes in the moveset. But yeah, with this selection of techniques, Knuckles' adventure here has a larger emphasis on exploration, which is a very good thing for us here, because this game has a lot of secret areas that we definitely want to make our way to. And with Knuckles' abilities, we are more than equipped for being able to get to these things, just to help us out here. Yeah, Knuckles does have a turn with his Bing, and if you can build up enough speed, you can go really far with this. Like, his gliding is really good. Not as much as a certain other character that we will eventually be seeing, but, you know. This movement is just really awesome. So set that, I quite enjoy. As we're going through here, how about I talk a bit about my history with Knuckles a little bit. Of course, one of the earliest Sonic games that I played was Sonic Racing on PC, and interesting first game to start with. But yeah, Knuckles was one of the characters you could play as in that game. I didn't really know too much about the history of this character at first. He made his debut in Sonic 3, obviously. And since I never had that game as a kid, and I didn't realize that that was Knuckles' debut until much later on, because I knew him from Sonic Racing. And in a much minor way, Sonic 3D Blast, because he's also in that game as one of the things that you need to do in order to get to these special stages. But yeah, with that, we've already found 2 special rings. We got 2 Chaos Emeralds. We're doing fine with Knuckles here, all things considered. And just because, let's hop into Blue Sphere again. Why am I doing this? I'm such a glutton for punishment. Yeah, typically I want to try to do at least 1 round of Blue Ring per zone, I feel, just because it's a good... just because I want to try to show off the things you can get by gathering all the Blue Sphere medals. So remember the last time I played this stage, I actually choked on it pretty badly. So hopefully same thing does not happen to us here. This way. Okay, we are free to go this way now. So yeah, back on my history with... back into my history with Knuckles. As a character that I didn't really get to play in his original context back in the day, but I sure as heck like the character. Compared to Sonic, who's a lot more of the cocky, free-spirited type, Knuckles is very stubborn, very blunt, and simple-minded, all being considered. Which isn't too much of a flaw under some circumstances, but yeah, that can... his simple-mindedness can really get him into trouble at times. It just makes for an interesting character for this. There were 3 rings we managed to miss. Alright, we didn't get a perfect on that stage, but at the very least we did get a medal from it, so that's good. And we should be just about the end of Act 1 here. Of course, Knuckles' unique gameplay here makes for an interesting set of skills when dealing with bosses as well. Just deal with that guy pretty easily. And there we go. First boss down. So as we're gonna see much further in this playthrough, Knuckles is really fun to use. Said before, with his unique skill set, it makes him very adept at exploration. Which is good, because this game is full of secrets. Of course, you got the monitors for getting power-ups with him. Pretty much most things you're able to do with Sonic, you're able to do with Knuckles. There are a few key differences, though, because I think Knuckles' acceleration overall is a lot poorer than Sonic, so it'll definitely take him a while to get, like, a top speed for things. And he'll want to relatively stay high up here. Oh, I see that. What's nice about Green Hill is that there are a lot of special rings here. It's definitely a good area for getting the Chaos Emeralds as soon as you can. Yeah, getting back to what I was saying about Knuckles' character, I do like it. He's not overall my favorite character in the series, but just a fun character whenever they do get to really show him off in a lot of different stories. As I said, he can be a very stubborn, aloof, and oftentimes a simple-minded individual, especially in a lot of different interpretations at Sonic Boom. But it definitely helps him stand out from a lot of the the other core cast members. Especially with some of the more serious members that they've introduced in a lot of the more recent years. But yeah, very fun character. I like his different interactions with people throughout the series, and overall his gameplay in a lot of different games is very good. So kind of going into his history with other games, the Sonic Adventure series really expanded upon Knuckles' abilities from the classic Genesis games very well, in my opinion, because they definitely emphasized the exploration a lot more, thanks to his skill set being able to explore these 3D, these sandboxes a lot better, and of course being the main goal of those stages is trying to collect key MacGuffins throughout the level. And of course, with all Knuckles' abilities, these make those levels pretty good to go through. At least from what I know, because I have not actually experienced the adventure games myself. I have played Sonic Heroes, though, and I do find that a heavily underrated game, so there is that. Speaking of heroes, Knuckles, of course, a pretty key player in that game, being one of the game's power characters. As you would expect, there is another attribute in Knuckles that we haven't gone over yet, but it is fairly important to his character, as well as the exploration of these levels. Alright, what do we got here in this stage? It's a lot of... Okay, I see this here. There's a lot of rings here, a few blue spheres, so this will be interesting to get through. Yeah, I definitely remember doing this one before, and obviously I did not pass it. It's just kind of the thing you have to get used to with these blue sphere stages. Ultimately, you are going to mess up at times, and just the way things are. But eventually you do get better. Okay, I see here. Nice. Grab those ones. We are actually almost done with the blue spheres, although still quite a few rings we need to get. And with things speeding up here, it's not going to be too good for us. I see that. Okay, we just need to get the last blue spheres. I have an idea on where to get these now. Nope. I see it. Whew, how did I pull that off? Oh, man. That is the best accidental win I have seen from this game so far. Oh, yeah. Obviously, I really like this game. And just being able to pull off maneuvers like that definitely adds the experience. Ow. Lousy chameleons. You're nowhere near as fun as the other one, I know. Alright, round 2 with Robotnik and the Death Egg Robot. Kind of want to go for the high ground here, but it's okay. Ow. Come on, buddy. Got on the ropes now, Eggman. Got him! I'd say that went pretty well. thanks for making a clip of that, buddy. I really appreciate that. Oh. Man, haven't seen something like that happen since 1907. Back in Chemical Plant Zone, one of my favorite areas in all of Sonic. Just can't get enough of this area. Just so pleasant to look at with all the colors and just the layout of the place. Again, we will have a relatively good time here, just like we did as Sonic. Well, this time we have Knuckles to play with. And yeah, just kind of... just stuff relating to this playthrough. Oh, I did test out playing as the Knuckles earlier in my Switch file. I actually do have a completed Knuckles file in the Switch version of Sonic Mania. They're just practicing on it up to the end of Chemical Plant here, just so I could get accustomed to the controls again, know what I'm doing throughout this playthrough. Alright, this part, remember to go down. And that leads us to another special stage room. Alright, Emerald number 4. Remember this one not being too bad compared to some of the other ones we had to face. I do really like the coloration of this stage. Also, never really noticed it before, but the ceiling of this special stage kind of has an ocean-like feel to it. Just, overall, I really love the aesthetic of this area. It's definitely something I can say about the special stages of this game. They are always very pretty. Some of them can be frustrating to deal with, but overall, they're still very lovely areas. Now, let's grab the rings. Alright, jump to grab that. And we should be relatively good to grab this emerald just ahead. Come on, buddy. Yep, we are definitely gonna grab this thing. Sack. There you are. Alright, we already got 4 emeralds and we're still in Chemical Plant. That's a very good sign for this playthrough. Then again, compared to how things were during the Sonic playthrough, that's not really saying much. Alright, time to head back up here. What's nice is that Knuckles is very good for getting through these vertical segments in Chemical Plant. You have to watch out for getting crushed by the blocks, though. Buddy, you're kind of... wow, I'm just completely defecating on the point that I just made. It's not having this much trouble. Back when it's playing this on Switch. Okay, we really cannot dilly-dally here. Knuckles? Never mind. Man, just earlier I was saying that Knuckles' maneuverability makes him great for going through these areas and just completely defecating on my own point there. Yeah, just something you gotta deal with in these games. Should be relatively good there. There we go. Well, that's embarrassing. Usually better about getting across there. Come on, Nux. Alright, as we're going through here, back a bit onto Knuckles as a character and concept. He is probably the first instance I've ever had as a kid of an actual Echidna character. Because, yeah, I definitely have seen my share of Hedgehog and Fox characters before, or playing through the Sonic games as a kid, but in the case of Echidnas, this is pretty much the first point where I've actually gone to see an Echidna in any shape or form. They are cool animals, one of the few mammals that actually lay eggs, along with a platypus. We all know how much people love platypuses. Or not in the case of a certain doctor. Buddy. Boss really isn't too bad. Yeah, they do lay eggs. They are one of the few mammals that do. Alright, Act 2 of Chemical Plant Zone. It's where things get fun. Let's mix up the chemicals. And we go up. It's good stuff. I just really love Chemical Plant Act 2. Woo! Look at how far we go. It's good stuff. Now, I hope I can remember where the special stage in this part is, because during my test playthrough, I didn't actually get to the special stage in this part. So it really depends on the route you take through these sections. Let's mix that. Avoid the Eggman monitor, because that's a bad. Remember this part. Ow. Oh, I guess it'd be saying, oh no. I just love that voice clip Knuckles makes when you attack him as Sonic in Sonic Adventure. It's just classic. Going a bit more into Knuckles in the various games, he does have his ups and downs. He's kind of awkward in Sonic 06, but then again, a lot of things in that game are just awkward. And he really didn't get much of another playable appearance in a main game until Sonic Boom, really, and oh boy, we know that game's not tremendously good. Like, please getting knocked hit by things. Knuckles, where are we gonna go now? Okay, there's definitely gonna be something up there for us. It's got a bit of speed. Down, and no, there's something up here. I remember this from my previous playthrough. Yep. Ring number 5. Man, this special stage gave me so much trouble as Sonic. If we can knock this out this early on, I would be so happy. Definitely want to build up speed here. And make sure we have enough rings for it, because, yeah, this stage is so annoying. There's just a lot of obstacles here. Alright, we should should be relatively good on rings. Just want to focus on building up our speed now. Alright, we should be relatively good to catch up to the emerald. Should definitely be gathering some more rings. Alright, that's a bunch of rings right there. Good. I hate hitting the bouncy walls. It just completely throws off my momentum. At least we're pretty good on rings here. We should have a decent time catching up to Emerald number 5. Oh yeah, we got this in the bag. That is so cathartic considering just how much trouble this emerald gave me back in my Sonic run. Good stuff. So while we're just doing this, on the topic of the special rings and the Chaos Emeralds, just like in our Sonic playthrough, there are good things for us once we get all the Chaos Emeralds. And one thing I didn't really discuss last time is that if you have all the Chaos Emeralds when you hit the special rings, then you get a bunch of rings from the rings when you hit them, just to help you access your super form or much faster. Anyway, enough of that, because we gotta play Puyo Puyo! Man, these some mean beans, I tell you what. I don't really know what my strategy is with this. I'm really not an expert Puyo player. We build something of a combo. We already did some pretty big hits to Eggman there. I mean, I would call him Robotnik, but as we know from Generations, nobody calls him that anymore. It's definitely a game I really want to get into, especially because one of my friends streamed that game on Discord at some point, and yeah. Okay, what I should do here is go for the green. Knocks out those. That's a combo. Get Shrek'd, Eggman. Man, that's always satisfying when you manage to get a good combo like that in a puzzle game. And back to one of my favorite zones of the game, Studiopolis. This place, of course, is a good time, especially when you're Knuckles. Okay. Looks like we might actually be able to climb that, I think. Yeah, no, okay. Hey, watch it, bud. So go over here for that. Yeah. I'm just trying to look around here because I know I didn't have too much luck getting to the... Didn't really have too much luck getting the special rings the last time I was here. But we're probably good anyway. Aw, he's so sad. Boink. Yeah, going back to Knuckles as a character, as I have been saying so much of this, it's had some interesting interpretations over the years, a lot of different portrayals. And one of my favorites, of course, being these. He was pretty good back in the high ragtime Eggman. It's relatively good back in the. What should I say here? In the adventure games, I do like him in those games, especially when they're playing up the mystery of like his origins and why he is so remote on the on his home island. Because spoilers, a lot of bad things happened to the Echidnas in previous Sonic games, and yeah, it's actually quite mature, all things considered. I remember this stage being a bit of a pain. I mean, it's one of the more straightforward ones, but for some reason I always have trouble with this. Are just about done here. Right now, where do we go? Okay. So that one you have to jump over the last blue sphere to get the last rings, and then you go for that. Okay, I understand that one. Oh, I see you. Think you can get away from me. Alright, Emerald number 6 already. This one I remember being a little tricky to do because there is a lot of hazards in your way and just also a lot of bumpy walls and very tight turns you have to deal with. I don't think this will be too bad. And besides, we're still really early into the game, so it doesn't really bother me too much if we don't get all of the emeralds this round. The background for this stage is very trippy, just with all the mushrooms in the background, the kind of sunset sky. It's an interesting look for a special stage, I'll give it that. Again, I said this before, but the special stages in this game are like a hodgepodge of all of the various special stages throughout the Genesis era games, and I really like what they do in the special stages here. Easily among my favorite versions of these special stages in any Sonic game. Alright, we are right behind this one. There we go. Chaos Emerald number 6, although it looks more like an aquamarine. I remember saying that in my last stream. Alright, only one more Chaos Emerald to deal with, and we still got quite a ways to go. Studiopolis is only the third area of the game. Alright, buddy, where are we gonna go now? Anyone else saw that? I hope I was not the only one who saw that special ring there. And I don't think we'll be able to... I do really like the fact that Knuckles can slide down the walls like this, just... Considering he's on glass right now, that must really hurt. Yeah, looks like we're not gonna get that special ring. It's a shame. But we still have plenty of time to grab everything here. And more time for me to enjoy the amazing Studiopolis music. I've already gushed so much about this music, but yeah, it's one of my favorites. And return of the hard-boiled heavies. Yep, Knuckles still has to go against these guys just like Sonic. The tactics here are very similar to your previous encounters with these guys, except we're with Knuckles, obviously. He does have his glide, which can be pretty helpful in this stage when you're dealing with the missiles. Trying to fix there. Yeah, this really isn't that hard of a fight. I still really like this battle just with the whole aesthetic of it, how you're trying to outrun the boss while also send its projectiles back at it. And of course, just can't get enough of the music that plays in these fights. So many get past that one, but should be good. Yep, that does it for that fight. Oh yeah. But now that we're on to Act 2, what are some known Sonic Mania things we can talk about? Ow, hey, cut out, you. It's out for blood against that guy, wow. Well, one thing I can say is that I have been very happy about this weekend. Of course, it is the Black Friday weekend, which can be pretty stressful for some people. But I was actually pretty lucky and have the entire weekend off of work, which is very good for me because I've been working very hard these last couple months. And just having an extended break like this is good for me, especially in my line of work. And it's definitely given me a lot of time with some things. I've, of course, been playing Among Us a lot with my friends on Discord, and oh boy. Well, enough of that right now, because we're already on the final special stage. If we can get through this, that's it. And yeah, we have been much better at this than we were back in the Sonic playthrough. But then again, I didn't have too much experience with these stages back when I was doing that, so... Another thing that I was really proud of in the Sonic playthrough was I was actually able to clear the final special stage on my first attempt. Really wasn't expecting it, but it was a very welcome surprise, because this is definitely a hard one. There's a lot of gaps on the floor which you can easily fall into, especially when you are at very high speeds. But a lot of tight corners that you can use as shortcuts in order to close the gap with the emerald, and there we go! And with all 7 Chaos Emeralds, now Knuckles can be Super Knuckles! So all we need to do now is gather a whole bunch of rings. Easier said than done given the assortment of enemies in this game. Hi buddy, can you just get... Nux, come on. Alright, Alright, so where was I before I was rudely interrupted by the special stage? Yeah, I'm just playing Among Us with a lot of my friends over on Discord. A lot of good times, but oh man, were there a lot of... There's quite a bit of yelling involved at times, which I guess you can expect in a game like that, obviously, but... Yeah, it's just crazy when things just kind of don't align in a player's favor, and they just... things just start to devolve into just... anarchy as just things start to get heated. Yeah. It's a very fun game. I still don't really like to play as imposter. Much prefer being crewmate, but I've already said that in previous streams. No sense repeating that. Ow. Dick. There's nothing for us up there. Right, that is good. So what am I doing? We have over 50 rings now. I can definitely, before we do this, hop in there. This is something I don't think I showed on my playthrough. We can enter this lotto machine, and this helped get us some bonuses. That gave us a bunch of rings. Very good. Up in here, we can grab that shield. Now, if we can just get onto solid ground finally. This game really doesn't want me to be on solid ground. There we go. Super Knuckles. Channeling his inner Opal from Sword and Shield, he turns dang. And yeah, we're gonna have no trouble at all against this boss. We're invincible so long as we have rings. There is just nothing it may do to us at this point. Although, another thing I don't think I really went over involving Knuckles is that his jump is a lot shorter than Sonic, so we're not having a very good time getting to hit Eggman unless he is low enough. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Knuckles' jumps are lower than Sonic's. It's very nice that I was able to pull the sun twice. That gave me some good hits on him. And we got the wind again. Buddy. It's weird that this fight is taking so long to get through in this run, because in my Sonic playthrough I just breezed past this one. Alright, could we please... Alright, the wind is good, the wind is good. Wow, I wasn't even trying there. So I don't think I actually mentioned this in my Sonic playthrough, but after you KO Eggman here and the broadcast goes off, you can hear this a very specific droning sound. This is probably one of the most weirdest references made in this game, because that's actually a reference to a Sonic Celebration stream that happened a few years ago, before the release of Sonic Mania. The fact that they managed to put that, of all things, into this game still blows my mind. But anyway, into the stage of awesome music, Flying Battery. I cannot get enough of this stage. It's easily one of my favorites in this whole game. Not just saying that because it has some very nice Sonic 2 references, is in the other half of it. Hey, cut it out, you. Definitely want to grab this fire. So back to us on some lately. I've definitely been in a mood to go back to my RPG Maker project that I was working on for some time now. it has been a little while since I've been working on it. I would love to get back into it, especially with the amount of progress I made last time with a certain area. But my time has definitely been eating up with different things. Most notably a game that I've been really obsessed with lately, Genshin Impact. Yeah, I know it may seem a little strange for me to be into the game, but yeah, I do actually really like the game. Just earlier today, in fact, I was finishing up some quests in the game for an event that actually goes away relatively soon. Like, I just got access to this quest line, and because I reached the appropriate rank in order to access that stuff, but by the time I actually got to get started on doing this storyline, yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of time to really get invested in the event too much because you know how those kind of games are. This was a timed thing with the deadline for certain events being today, so yeah, I just had to kind of rush through a lot of the quests in this particular thing, and didn't really get a whole lot of time to spend with some of the other content you can do in this. But whatever, I did enjoy quite a bit of the event. It put some focus on some characters that I do like a lot, not in Genshin. One of which I was lucky enough to unlock, while we have this. I was going to turn super there, but whatever. But yeah, the event had some story significance to a few of the characters as in that game, one of which I was lucky enough to pull a few days ago, which made me very happy to get to see her in action and just kind of get to know her a little better, because those kind of games you don't really get a whole lot of time to interact with your characters other than having them as battlers. But yeah, it's very nice they do include these moments where you can interact with the characters in. I totally missed that, didn't I? So hi, Eggman. Working on your secret project for your niece, huh? Back in the trash compactor. Now, one thing I don't like about Knuckles getting the elemental shields that he doesn't really see the most use out of the secondary effects of the shields. Because it can really double jump here. Which is kind of annoying, because that's one of the really good things about having the electric shield. One thing's for sure, we're gonna be a lot thinner. There we go. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what is gonna be happening in the future with Genshin, because it seems like there's definitely gonna be a lot more of the world map that will open up to us in the future, depending on how the developers are spending the time with it. I don't know. It'll be just very interesting to see the game develop and grow as the years go on. Okay, really did not appreciate that. Also, I want to go up here. It's a good thing we can climb. Otherwise, that'd be a very tricky area to get up to. Yeah, Flying Battery, Act 2. It's one of my favorite sections out of everything we have seen thus far in the game. especially because I am such a sucker for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and this area has so many callbacks to Sonic 2. Pretty much this whole section is just one big shout out to new Flying Fortress Zone. Owned from that game, and just, yeah. I was really disappointed by that. Hang on. Alright, let's go Super just because I want to. Also, I love the Super music. We didn't get to hear too much of it in the Sonic playthrough. But yeah, I just really love this theme. Very solid. Okay, buddy, stop. Oh yeah, this section. Yeah, it's a little awkward there because you kind of have to get through a bunch of areas just to have access to those items, but maybe we'll get to them. Who knows? Meantime, we got a lot of areas to go through here. This whole stage is very big and very wide open. It'd be pretty easy just to kind of get lost here, but I still really like the openness of this section. It gives you so much to do and to see here. Okay, start the vent up. So far. Okay, that. Ow! Are you kidding me? I never said this was a perfect game. I mean, I probably have at some point, but don't take me too seriously. Ow. I really don't appreciate you doing that to me, Clock. Alright, that guy. That, and gets us Bubble Shield. It is good because it can reflect projectiles from the clocks. Anything else? I think we have to activate those mines there, yeah. Alright, where are we now? It's actually a section I'm not all too familiar with here. It is pretty neat. Alright, now remember there's something up here. Yep. Special ring right there. It's good for me because I definitely needed those rings. And as with Super Knuckles, we'll just have an easy time getting through here. As long as we don't fall, because, yeah, there are some sections where you can fall here. Actually, I don't think we took the upper path here in my last playthrough. Which is good, as I said before, this is a very wide open stage. You can pick a lot of different paths to get through here. I just really love Flying Battery in this game, okay? It's so damn good. Alright, we should be relatively close to the end. Probably at some point ahead. But in terms of other stuff going on lately, I don't know, there have been some things I've really been wanting to get back into. Of course, I want to get back to playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and... Ooh, just look at him zip around so fast! But yeah, lots of stuff I want to be doing lately, especially with how things are in quarantine, but there's nothing we can really do about that right now. But it's time to fight Dr. Eggman again! Or, depending on how you interpret the sprite, it could be Eggman's niece. I don't know. Look, I really like Eggette, okay? It's a really fun design. Buddy. Can I actually get a hit on this guy? Me being super right now is just kind of messing up my mojo here. I'm usually not used to being this powerful at this point of the game. I'm not this good of a Sonic player. Okay, buddy, can we please take you out before I start running out of rings? There we go. Bye, Eggette. And with that, we are done with Flying Battery again. I'm gonna miss this place. It's one of my favorite zones in the game. And let's go hang gliding to Press Garden. Speaking of some of my favorite areas, just really love this place. So we can just, there, buddy. In terms of other stuff that's been going on lately, with me recently finishing up BoJack Horseman, I've been getting back into another show that I really enjoy, which is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I really don't know why, I just kind of dropped this show for whatever reason, but getting back into season 3 of it, and yeah, it's still just as good as I remember. And just a very funny show about a bunch of cops in New York City facing a lot of different problems, both on the job and with their different relationships, and overall just a very good show. Like, it has a lot of genuinely touching moments to it that just make me... that helps get me invested in the characters and their struggles. Remember up to here. We just focus here. There's that switch we need to hit. Good. Yeah, I know that being Super Knuckles at this point just turns everything into easy mode, but come on, Knuckles, could you... And that is Knuckles' short jump for you, just completely botching that section when Sonic would have no trouble whatsoever. Alright, buddy. While we're at it, can I just say that boy, did they really make Knuckles stupid in the future iterations of the character. I'm not just talking about Sonic Boom. Some of the other games, like especially Sonic Forces, he is so dumb. Which, sure, I can get the idea from the older games that Knuckles can be very foolish and simple-minded, but he is just so stupid in future games. Like, why was he put in charge of the resistances of forces? And we're dealing with Eggman. Like, he is not in a good leadership position at all. And frickin' causes so many of their troops to get taken out during one of Knuckles' operations in the game because they weren't expecting certain things. Now I could just go on and on about how Sonic Force is just not a very good Sonic game, but whatevs. Not something I want to be talking about right now, especially because... No, not even for that. I do not see myself streaming that game, at least in the foreseeable future. No, I have other plans. Most notably, a certain game that I was playing earlier this year, I'll definitely be getting back into when 2021 comes around. Yeah, I know I did take a break from the game, but it was at a very perfect time in the story, I felt. And it'd be nice just to take a break from it so I can focus on other things I wanted to do. Why am I being defensive here? I am Super Knuckles. I don't have to wait for him to break his arms. And onward to Press Garden 2. I love this area. Definitely one of my favorite zones of any Sonic game. Which is weird because it's an ice level, and yeah, video games don't really tend to do ice levels all that well. But dang, Sonic Mania gets it pretty good here. It's nice because the ice actually plays a good role in the level design and the mechanics. And the aesthetic of this whole area is just really beautiful. Pretty much love most of this level. Now if I could get enough rings to go super right now, we can just blaze through here without having to worry too much about the hazards here. Besides getting crushed, because, yeah, there are a few of those. Here. Alright, there we go. Actually, before we go, I remember from my previous playthrough, grabbed a bunch of rings there, which also gets us a level up. Of course, once you grab 100 rings, you will instantly level up, and that's good. Way to go, Knucklehead. I know this section isn't too bad. It's a little awkward here. So you have to get to the section specifically so that you can get frozen in order to traverse this area. At least not too bad once we launch ourselves this way. We should be relatively close to the end over here. Okay, I'm glad I was invincible, because hitting that Eggman monitor would have been very no bueno. I just love the freezing mechanic in this stage. Like, it's a good kind of humor here. into wood chippers. Good luck with that, Eggman. Oh man, that is funny. Okay, we should be pretty close to the end here. Yep, already at the boss, which should be no trouble at all given that we have invincibility here. Hello, Shinobi. Yeah, this boss gave me quite a bit of trouble with Sonic, but as you can see here, being super just breaks the boss fights. Speaking of which, I wonder how things are going to go with a certain fight coming up relatively soon, because we're going to be hopping into another one of my favorite acts very soon. Eggman, what you got there? Oh no, I'm tripping balls again! Boy, this place looks like it's been forgotten. Back in Stardust Speedway. Can't get enough of this zone. I love its aesthetic, love its music. It's a good time here. Some of the mechanics are a little awkward here, but still overall a very good area. It is nice that I don't have to worry too much about grabbing the special rings at this point, so I can focus most of my time on just clearing the levels. Yeah, I know I really didn't go too in-depth into it, but there is a reason we are going to see eventually for why I decided to play as Knuckles in this game. When, for very specific reasons, we could play as Tails here, but I elected not to do a Tails run on stream, just because it is something we don't need to do. Everything we saw as Sonic, everything we could see as Tails, I mean, that's annoying. What I'm trying to get here is that everything we saw with Sonic is stuff that we could see as Tails. But with Knuckles, there is still some things ahead that we are able to accomplish that we couldn't do in the Sonic playthrough, as will become very apparent sometime in the future. We're not going to worry about that too much right now, because I just want to focus on getting through this very awesome level. I guess on the topic of some other stuff that's going on lately, first season of the Animaniacs reboot, it has actually been released, and oh man, from all the clips I've seen of it, just really good stuff. Like, when I was a kid, I really loved Animaniacs. Definitely up there is one of my favorite shows from when I was a kid, and it's getting to see it come back with a lot of the original cast, and just has such a classic writing as you can expect. Just a very well put together show. Like, it's very funny, very topical. No, isn't too full of itself to take itself too seriously, and is even poking fun at its own tropes and conventions. Definitely something I can recommend people check out. Especially with some of the jokes they do in the new series, because, yeah, a lot of fun stuff in there. It's kind of a shame that some of the older Animaniacs segments didn't get and revived like some of the other ones, but I do know that at some point in the future we'll be getting those older ones again, so that'll be nice. Alright, buddy, can we just kill you? Another boss I'm kind of not a big fan of. Not a big fan of the Firefly here. Ow. Cut it out, bud. Alright, buddy, could you stop? These two. Finally done with that guy. I know I do like a lot of the boss in this game. That's not one of them, unfortunately. Just kind of generic. Now it's time for Knuckles to go to the future! Again, this is a very awesome transition between Act 1 and Act 2. Another reason why Stardust Speedway is one of my favorite areas of this game, because such a great transition, and I just love how vastly different the two sections of Stardust Speedway are in terms of aesthetic. How you go from a very green and ancient temple area into this big, bright, vibrant cityscape. I know I just gushed on and on about this place back in my previous playthrough, but yeah. Really love this area, dog. I couldn't get you to not do that, please. I'm trying to remember things here, because I know there's something specific about this area. Not there. It's alright, we don't need to worry about it. There it is! That's the location of that special ring. I don't really need it at this point, but, you know, it's there. So could we stop right quick so that I can access my super form? There we go. Yeah, we should have a relatively quick time just blazing through this area. So knowing my Sonic playthrough, I just sped through this area so quickly. Yep, we're already at the end of this area. Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, hey Sonic, how's it going? Wait, you're not Sonic! Yep, time to fight one of my favorite bosses in the series again. Metal Sonic! Cannot get enough of this guy. Easily one of my favorite antagonists throughout this series. He's able to blast away to the first phase very quickly here. I'm curious to see how this will go as when we're super. Concerned because we're running out of rings here. Yeah, we are. Oh man, the super form doesn't even matter now because we're out of rings. Alright, that's fine. We made it to phase 2 anyway. So we're not going to take on a Metal's final form as Super, but that's still fine. I do really like this fight, of course. Seriously, how can you not love something that terrifying? Such a great sprite. Okay, just expecting that much trouble there. Then again, we are playing as Knuckles here. He really hasn't been too lucky for us. There we go. Sorry, Metal. Maybe next time, buddy. Oh man, I can't believe I beat Sonic! Now I'm the hero of the franchise. Hey, Eggman, what you got there? Oh, not again! And with that, I think we are going to call it here for this session. Now, it's a shame we had to stop here. We're going into this very great zone here. Can't get enough of Hydro City. But yeah, we made some excellent progress in our playthrough with Knuckles so far. So next time we jump into Mania. Oh, look at that. Mean Bean's now unlocked. Yeah, that is why you want to go after the medals. So we go into extras here, we can see that Mean Bean's now available. And you can go against either the computer or against another player character. This is why you want to go after the medallions in the goalpost games, because that is how you unlock additional features in this game. Pretty good stuff overall. But yeah, with that, we are going to call it here for Sonic Mania. Next time we jump into this game, we are going to finish the rest of Knuckles' adventure. Until next time, have a good night and take care.